Global mobility. Well, it isn't just a personal choice anymore, is it? It's really become this all-out economic battle between nations. We're seeing countries, aggressively competing for the world's wealth and, maybe more importantly, its top talent. Today, we're going to zoom in specifically on Southeast Asia. This whole region is like a fascinating laboratory right now. Nations there are fundamentally rethinking things, tax codes, residency policies, visa systems, and they're aiming squarely at, well, affluent investors, top-tier professionals, and that growing group of digital nomads who can work from pretty much anywhere. So our mission here is to unpack the key takeaways for you. What are the actual incentives being offered? What are the goals behind them? Is it just economic growth or reversing brain drain? And maybe most importantly, we'll look at the surprising complexities, especially around tax law, that you really need to navigate if you're considering a move.
Yeah, and it's vital to frame this the right way for you, the listener. This isn't just governments being nice or making it easier to move. It's a very deliberate, strategic economic decision. They're essentially using residency and tax policies as tools, as engines, to boost their own growth. They want to enhance industrial capabilities, pull in specialized knowledge, and because these rules are changing so fast, particularly around things like, say, remitting income, anyone planning a longer stay, whether that's for a couple of years on a contract or a more permanent lifestyle change, you absolutely have to stay on top of the compliance side.
That's a great point. It sets the context perfectly. The competition is fierce. Every country in Southeast Asia seems to be trying to position itself as the place to be, the best hub for talent and investment.
And the sources we looked at are pretty clear on the main drivers here. First, obviously, stimulating their economies. They want that foreign spending, that big investment. Second, it's about fostering innovation, bringing in the skills and the high earners needed to really advance technology and high-end services. But there's a third driver, and it's quite strategic: reversing brain drain. They're actively trying to lure back their own talented nationals who might have gone abroad for better opportunities, get them to contribute back home.
Okay, so those are the goals. What are the main tools they're using to achieve this? It feels like two main categories keep popping up.
Exactly right. Two main levers. Lever number one, revising tax regulations, offering very specific targeted tax breaks. Lever number two, rolling out these new specialized visa programs. They're basically tailor-made for certain groups, signaling really clearly, we want you here long term.
And on that visa side, we're seeing programs aimed at what some sources call rainmakers.
Okay.
Now, for anyone listening who isn't familiar, we're talking about people who bring significant economic impact, right? Big deals, major investments.
Precisely. The tycoons, the top executives, the people whose presence is going to be felt in the economy. Countries are definitely prioritizing them. They're floating these programs designed for the ultra affluent who can commit to staying for several years. And this is important because, think about it, if you're moving for a 5-year assignment, maybe bringing your family, you need that stability. You're looking beyond just a hotel. You need those extended stay solutions, serviced apartments, maybe longer lease. The visa has to support that kind of commitment.
That makes sense. And when these high-value individuals are comparing countries, probably the first thing they look at, even before housing, is the tax situation. Which brings us to maybe the biggest draw for many Asian nations, the territorial tax system.
Yes, this is absolutely fundamental. It can often be the make or break factor for global workers. Put simply, a territorial tax system means the country generally only taxes income that's generated inside its borders. So if you're an expat, maybe earning income from clients overseas, or your salary goes into an offshore bank account, that income might not be taxed locally. But, and this is key, it depends heavily on how and when you bring that money into the country.
That's a massive potential benefit, isn't it? Especially for people with global income streams. Which countries are really known for these attractive tax environments?
Well, the names that come up consistently are Singapore, Malaysia, Hong Kong, and the Philippines. These places often highlight benefits like, say, no capital gains tax or no inheritance tax, sometimes very low corporate tax rates, too. If you look at Singapore, for example, they have things like the Global Investor Program. It requires a pretty hefty investment, often millions, into the local economy.
Right, so they're setting a high bar.
Exactly. It's in exchange for permanent residency. It shows they're explicitly targeting wealth. Malaysia's premium visa program is similar in signaling that desire for sustained, deep investment. But, we can't really talk about this competition fairly without mentioning the huge influence from the Middle East. Even though it's not Southeast Asia geographically, the UAE comes up all the time in this discussion.
Because of their tax policies.
Absolutely. Zero personal income tax, zero capital gains tax, zero estate tax. That makes them a massive competitor for the same global talent and wealth. It puts real pressure on the traditional Asian hubs like Singapore and Hong Kong to keep refining what they offer.
That makes total sense. They're all fishing in the same pond. Essentially, you have to compare the offers regionally. Okay, so let's zoom in on one specific example that really highlights both the attraction and the, let's say, the potential pitfalls. Where it gets really interesting, let's use Thailand. It's still a huge magnet for expats, but they've recently made some changes that add complexity.
Indeed. And the key change really kicked in on January 1st, 2024. It wasn't like a whole new tax law, but a really crucial reinterpretation of the existing rules for personal income tax. And it's a bit of a game changer for long-term planning.
Okay, tell us exactly what changed.
Well, simply put, the new interpretation means that any assessable income, so income that's potentially subject to tax that you transfer into Thailand, is now potentially taxable in the year you get in, regardless of when you actually earned that income originally.
Wait, hold on. That sounds like a huge difference. Because the old rule, the more relaxed one, was that overseas income was only taxed if you brought it into Thailand in the same calendar year you earned it. So if I earned something in, say, 2020 and brought it over in 2023, generally I was okay. But now if I earn that same money in 2024 and I remit it in 2025, it could be taxable in 2025.
That's precisely the shift. Let's maybe use a quick example for you, the listener. Imagine Alex, a professional on one of these special long-term visas, moved to Thailand in 2024. He earns, say, $200,000 a year paid into his New York bank account. He loves living there, decides he needs to fund a big local expense, maybe a down payment on a condo or start a small local investment. So he transfers $150,000 from his New York savings into his Thai bank account. Under this new interpretation, if that $150,000 was earned after January 1st, 2024, it becomes assessable income in Thailand the moment it lands in his Thai account.
Wow. Okay. That means basically every single financial move involving bringing money in, paying school fees, buying a car, anything becomes a potential tax event. You'd have to track everything meticulously.
You absolutely would. Now, there is one important detail, a bit of a saving grace perhaps. Savings that you accumulated before December 31st, 2023 are still exempt from this new rule when brought in.
Ah, okay.
But for any income earned from 2024 onwards, yes, the planning complexity just shot way up.
And we should probably clarify the residency rule here, too, because having a visa is one thing, but tax residency is often separate, isn't it?
Correct. They are distinct concepts. Tax residency in Thailand is primarily determined by the 180-day rule. If you spend 180 days or more physically present in Thailand within a single calendar year, you're considered a tax resident for that year. Doesn't matter what type of visa you hold, long-term resident, tourist, visa waiver, whatever. Now, income you earn from sources inside Thailand is always taxable there. The 180-day rule mainly determines whether your remitted foreign income also gets pulled into the Thai tax net.
So, okay, summarizing the risk here for someone planning a move. Thailand still technically has a territorial system, meaning foreign income isn't taxed just because you earned it while living there. But the moment you try to use that foreign earned money locally by bringing it into the country, boom, it can trigger tax in the year you remit it. That requires a level of really careful financial planning and record keeping that maybe the average person isn't quite ready for.
That's the crux of it. And this is where the practical needs of these professionals really come into play. If you're relocating for, say, 3 to 5 years, you need that stable base. You need reliable long-term accommodation like service departments, precisely because you need to manage this kind of compliance smoothly. Having that settled operational base becomes crucial for handling this complexity. So the overall attractiveness of Thailand, or any destination with similar rules, really hinges on your specific financial setup and how you plan to manage remittances.
It does sound like that added complexity might make some potential high-value expats pause, even with an attractive visa. But let's circle back to that third goal you mentioned earlier, reversing brain drain. Thailand also has something positive going on there, aimed at its own citizens.
Yes, that's right. It's a separate, very positive initiative. They're using tax incentives specifically to encourage skilled Thai nationals who've been working abroad to come home. The deal is pretty attractive. If you're a returning Thai national, you have a bachelor's degree, and at least 2 years of work experience outside Thailand, you can qualify for a flat 17% income tax rate.
17%. That's definitely competitive globally. And I recall reading they're also helping the companies that hire these returning Thais.
They are. It's a double incentive. Employers in certain key sectors, think advanced manufacturing, digital tech, that sort of thing, can get a 50% tax exemption on the salary costs for hiring these eligible returning workers. It really shows strong government support, and importantly, this program is set to run until the end of December 2029. So it signals a real multi-year commitment to rebuilding that local expertise.
Okay, so let's try to wrap this up for you, the listener. What's the main takeaway from all this?
I think the core message is that Southeast Asia offers genuinely huge opportunities. There's real entrepreneurial drive, and governments are actively courting foreign investment and talent. The specialized visas and often favorable tax frameworks can create a really compelling sort of win-win situation for expats who bring valuable skills or capital.
But there's always a but, isn't there?
Right. But as the Thailand example clearly shows, rigorous planning is absolutely non-negotiable. You can't just look at the visa. You must understand the precise tax implications of how you structure your finances, and especially how you bring money into the country. That appealing territorial system might have hidden triggers around remittance. Failing to plan for that could lead to major compliance headaches, maybe even penalties, down the road.
Oh, true.
And fundamentally, all these policy changes just highlight how intense the global competition for talent and investment really is. Governments aren't just passively waiting anymore. They're actively designing and sometimes complicating systems to attract very specific types of economic contributors.
Well, thank you for joining us on this pretty detailed exploration of the Southeast Asian talent scene and the, let's face it, complex logistics of moving money across borders these days. It's become clear that managing the practical side of a move, especially finding reliable, maybe extended stay solutions if you're in a multi-year contract, is just as vital as getting the visa sorted. So, to leave you with something to think about, given these intense pressures, especially seeing Thailand tighten its rules around remittance, what's next? Will other major hubs in the region, maybe Singapore or Malaysia, feel forced to adopt similar, perhaps more restrictive tax policies to protect their own revenue? Or will they double down, keep their policies more attractive, risking some revenue loss to capture that absolute top tier of global wealth? Keep an eye on how these tax systems continue to evolve. Where one country makes a move, others often react.